Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we'll be speaking with Grace Huang, Marketing Manager from Bitmain, as well as special guests Core Blockchain and Full Spend Mining. This conversation was recorded on December 21st, 2022, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also make sure to follow our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. Today we have Grace from Bitmain. She is the marketing manager there, and we are going to be talking about everything related to Kadena mining. We also have Chase from Core Blockchain joining us and Riley from Full Spend Mining joining us. So very awesome AMA. So let's start this off hopefully with you, Grace, with a quick introduction about yourself and what you do at Bitmain.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace Huang. I'm marketing manager at Bitmain. So basically, I'm in charge of Kadena project and other POW project like Zcash. We are very excited to support Kadena community because we just launched K3 miner September, and it was one of the most profitable miner currently on the market. And we are very excited to join this panel with you guys.
Awesome. We are very happy to have you here with us. I know a lot of the mining people in Kadena have been very happy to see you guys producing miners for the Kadena community specifically. So a lot of people are very excited to get their hands on these miners and everything like that. Let's kick it over to Core Blockchain. I know you guys are deep into the mining, already have a bunch of machines running. What do you think about not just the miners that Bitmain are producing, but mining on Kadena as a whole, and how the mining ecosystem really is? Because we mostly focus on the NFTs and the projects themselves, and I find that the miner community doesn't really get a lot of recognition in the ecosphere. So let's hear your side of it first.
Yeah, I think the Kadena mining ecosystem is, at its infancy right now, and it definitely is growing. I mean, every single day. I mean, you even see new mining projects like myself in Full Spend. You see these new mining projects coming out, every couple of weeks, and it's cool to see the growth and everything from how Kadena is really on track for that. So, when Bitmain comes out and legitimizes Kadena mining in a sense with dropping the K3. Like, we want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Bitmain for doing that, because what it does is, people go on whatsamine.com and they see the K3 is, the most profitable miner, and they see that little K next to it, and they're like, oh, I wonder what Kadena is, right? And then that's generally how we started mining Kadena. Is we saw it on Whatsamine, we saw it was profitable, and then we started, doing our own due diligence and research on it, and we figured out that it's great fundamentals. So, like I said, a big thanks to Bitmain for that, and I think we're really on head to continue to up the hash rate and make this a legitimate thing. So
awesome. Yeah, it's really, like you said, a big huge company like Bitmain producing a miner specifically to mine Kadena really does show the legitimacy of the chain, that one of the hugest companies is willing to put development time and development money into making a miner for that algorithm. So let's maybe go back to Grace a little bit about what was it that brought Bitmain to Kadena? Was it the community response wanting it, or was it your own due diligence from Bitmain's side to say, hey, this is a really awesome blockchain and we should support it?
Before Bitmain launched the K3 miner, we did a lot of research on Kadena community and also Kadena technology side. The security and integrity we found in Bitmain still maintained and throughout, in the Kadena technology, and also the technology behind the container is what POW system wanted to be fixed, like a scalability side, So we prepared a long time and did lots of research about Kadena the ecosystem. That's why Bitmain decided to support the Kadena community. And at the same time, we want to, do more in the future too.
Awesome. It's great to hear that a company like Bitmain saw the potential in Kadena to the point where you started doing your own research and looking into it and eventually pull through and develop these miners. Now, I know that there's been an absolutely amazing response, like you said, to the KA3 miners. Were you expecting that, or were you guys kind of surprised by just how much response came from what is kind of a small community in a sense when you look at some of the other larger networks, especially in the proof of work category? Were you kind of really blown away by just how much support there was behind this small little ecosystem and small little blockchain?
Yeah, we do feel overwhelmed by the community because it was so popular. When we launched, it just sold out like in almost less than 1 minute. And we also like people are lined up to buy K3, but currently like Bitmain, we only sell like retail because we do want to keep the community more decent, keep container more decentralized as the community wished. We don't want to, just like other miner we sell, we have the bulk order to bigger corporation. So that's why we decided to, like, at least at the current stage, we decided to just sell retail because we want to support the community and so that the retail miner they can buy it, yeah. So but we're not sure like what's the future, like will we be extended to like bulk order, but currently we maintain to just sell to retail right now.
That's really great to hear that you guys have decided to go that route and support the community and have people be able to purchase directly from Bitmain as opposed to looking for some kind of third party provider that, like you said, buys in bulk and buys them all and then sells them at a higher cost. So really, by offering the retail option for people directly from Bitmain, you're really saving the community lots of money and time, and just not the effort of having to find those third party providers and things like that. Now, I know both core and full spend. What kind of miners have you guys mostly spent your time with, especially with Kadena, but possibly with other chains you may have mined in the past? And have any of those miners been Bitmain miners? I personally myself have an old Bitmain, I think it's an S9 or something. It's a really old, like it wouldn't even mine like anything anymore. It's pretty much just a relic that sits on the shelf. So what are your guys' histories with Bitmain specific miners, but so much just like miners in a general?
Yeah, over here, in the Kadena side of things, I've definitely mined with KD5s and KD6s personally. Uh, I've also mined a lot with other, Bitmain machines, HS5, CK5. I've been supporting Bitmain for a long time. They just make an amazing product. It's, runs as they state it will. They're one of the best manufacturers, super efficient. I mean, I've even been mining with some of their L3 pluses, which is, one of those older ones in the generation of that S9, like you were talking about. Um, but yeah, I think that they overall have the best technology, the best miners, the most efficient. And so I've been mining with them a lot personally. And as far as our project goes, we are 100% of our miners are the KA3s. We're super, super excited to get them shipped out. I know that is getting super close. So um, only great things to say about Bitmain. And, we're super, super grateful that they are so willing to be a strong player in the growth and support of Kadena with making the KA3 and especially making it available at retail so that, you know, the everyday person has a chance to get one, including, you know, startup projects and projects that are also established. So super exciting, and yeah, they're an amazing company.
Yeah, so as far as my experience with any Bitmain miners, we're actually fairly new in this space. We started mining about a year ago, when Kadena was around $1 right there last July. So we actually, the first miner we started messing with was actually, it was Decred. I lied. It was some Decred, what's miners and everything. And then we went to gold shell KD5s, and then that kind of started our growth into the Kadena ecosystem. And then we did, you know, the KD6s, and we've experimented with, you know, IB links and, you know, the IB link K1 pluses, IB link K1 maxes. But, you know, from my research, you know, even just seeing all the stuff on the S19 and all the other stuff from Bitmain, I can definitely tell that, you know, there's better manufacturing going into that, and this is why we will be doing the K3s as well. So you can just tell from everything from, you know, the UI that you actually, you know, being able to modify and change everything, all where you configure all your addresses and everything. That looks a lot cleaner, and you can just tell that there's more development that goes into that. So that's why we'll definitely, you know, be switching over, and obviously last but not least, just the true efficiency of, you know, the K3. It's a no-brainer to switch from our old equipment over. So that will be our first experience with Bitmain.
Awesome. It's good to hear that both of you guys have experience using Bitmain miners. And like you said, it shows that they put in the time, they put in the effort into developing these machines for people and also providing support to the community. Now, Grace, I don't know if you're able to speak on this, but I know that people are waiting on their delivery of KA3s, and that is supposed to be happening sometime in January. Are you able to give any kind of update on that process?
Uh, the exact date, I actually don't know because salespeople they handle that. But I think the company, because the logistic, we do have a very good like logistic team, and should be not be issue. Like people should receive K3 on time.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't expect like, oh, you're going to get them on January 25th at 12 o'clock p.m. at your house. Like you guys obviously can't provide that kind of answer. But to hear that you're on track and that you're still like pushing towards the initial times and stuff that you told people, then that's probably a lot more comforting for a lot of the people just to know that.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's really good that you can at least say something like that. Now, when it comes to the future of Bitmain and Kadena, do you guys, like with the great response that you've had with the KA3s, are there already plans to continue the KA line into the future as new chips get developed and new development procedures come into place?
Yeah, I think we like that's why we have actually at Bitmain we have a specific team like me and my coworker. We like in charge of container project and like other POW project because like we want to support like even Kadena community now is relatively small, but we do see the future, and we do believe the chain web technology behind the Kadena, and also the scalability is very like this kind of technology is very impressive at the POW project, and so we will continue to support the Kadena community. Yes, for sure.
Awesome. That's great to hear. It is an absolutely amazing community. The more you dive into it and see all the amazing projects and people that are working behind it with not just the Kadena team itself, like the official Kadena team, but all of these awesome little projects that are now building upon these tools. Now, I kind of have a question that's anyone can answer, including Grace, if you know the answer to this. When it comes to Kadena, one of the things that are a lot different than other blockchains is the 20 chain web infrastructure. Now, I'm not a miner myself. I dabbled in just like I said, I had an old miner way back in the day, and I tried it, and that was one of my stories of losing coins because I forgot what I did with the wallets that I mined all the coins into. Anyhow, I'm sure we all have those stories as well. But with the 20 chains, when it comes to mining, does that even have any effect to the miners? Like, how can someone maybe just go into exactly how, if at all, that affects mining on Kadena?
Well, I think actually the 20 chain technology, like the chain web technology, actually made it more efficient and more environmentally friendly than traditional POW algorithm. So it works like by dividing the blockchain into multiple smaller chains, right? And each of which is secured by its own POW process. So that actually because Bitmain, like we always want to people mine green energy, and also like we want to develop more products basically like good for environments. That's why also we launched, like if you know, we launched like hydro miner which use water. So actually, the technology behind the container we think is more efficient and environmentally friendly. So we support that.
Well, combining a hydro miner with the already efficiency of Kadena sounds like you could really uh, be a driving force in pushing for more green utility. Now, I know a lot of mining companies out there are already trying to use renewable energies, mostly because of the fact that it offsets. There's the initial cost of setting it up if you're doing it yourself, or if you're getting hydroelectricity, for example, from a company or something that offers that. Then I know that it cuts down the cost in the end. So that's always very important when it comes to mining. If not, that might be one of the biggest aspects when it comes to mining is your energy costs. Let's talk a little bit let's start with Core about you guys and how you are dealing with that when it comes to energy. And actually, to go back to the question I just asked about the 20 different chains, one thing I do wonder is like, when you're mining a miner, are you receiving blocks from one of the random 20 chains, or does like a miner mine like chain 4? I have never really like dived that far into it. If you want to maybe explain that a little bit.
From my reading, you would think that the hash rate is divided, amongst the chains that need work. But from my reading, and I'll DM you the sources and everything. It was from this kind of anonymous guy, but he seemed to be very knowledgeable on all that. But from my understanding, it's all done through like the miner is basically set to a certain chain. So they obviously act as one chain together, but basically the work has to be done on that chain, correct? So that is not end all be all fact, but that is from my reading and everything. But the way I interpret it is you'd think that basically the hash rate would get divvied up depending on the work and everything, but I do not think there's mechanisms to determine that yet. So like I said, that is not fact by any means, but that is what I read. And what I'll do is I'll double check with that, and I'll actually send that to you, Chris, after this AMA.
Awesome. Yeah, because that's something I've always wondered about the 20 chains was like, for example, when you set up your miner and you go in and set up your address, set all the stuff up, are you literally going like, okay, I'm mining Kadena, but I'm only mining, say, like I said, saying chain 4. Is that how it works? Is that my understanding?
You don't set it to chain 4. It's whatever, like say we use Poolflare, right? And they're like chain 0, and usually everybody is building on a certain chain. There is people building on chain 8. So I would think that certain pools, because think about it, if you're getting all the rewards for that work, that's you win the block reward every time if you're the only miner. So I think some pools capitalize on that. Like I said, I don't know for certain, but that is something definitely that's worth looking into.
What about you, Riley? Do you have any knowledge of how this works? Because that's something I've been always trying to figure out. What with the mining was like, because the way I kind of see the 20 chains is that each chain is kind of its own blockchain on top of the Kadena chain, and when it comes to mining, that kind of throws me off of, well, how exactly, like, does that mean that there's a chance that there's nobody mining like chain 11 right now? Like, could that be a possibility?
Yeah, so what you guys are saying is pretty accurate from my understanding, where most miners won't be actually hosting their own pools. And it's like what Core said, Chase said over at Core. When you mine, you basically connect to a pool, and the pool will manage dividing up the connected miners to that pool to the different chains. And it's kind of a supply and demand thing where as more people use the different chains, you'll see those pools switching the hashing power over to those to solve blocks. So I don't think you'd ever have a instance where there's never anybody to mine a certain chain or nobody's mining a chain. Um, so you guys are pretty accurate from what I've read and understand. But yeah, I don't think there would ever really be the chance where there would be no miners on a specific chain.
Yeah, because no miners on a chain would just mean transactions don't go through. You need someone to validate those transactions and push it through. But I'm sure, hopefully moving forward, we can get something. I don't know if like IntelliSend's obviously just going to be kind of something that Doug's building for sending transactions and multiplying transactions across different chains. But I wonder if there's some way that they could build a miner that automatically itself, instead of the pool like doing the work, the miner itself could automatically like see, okay, there's transactions in the meme pool on chain 5 and switch itself over. I don't know if that's something, Grace, that you could talk on, or if that's even a possibility, that a miner itself could work its way through the 20 chains and just go to whatever chain needs it at the current time.
So actually, I do think that there are pools that are kind of smart and that use some kind of AI to basically read how much transactions are happening on each pool, and will automatically switch stuff over. So it's not as manual and needing you to just sit there and be like, oh, today there's tons on chain 8 because a project launched on chain 8. I do think that pools are developing that sort of automated process where it'll scan the chain, see how much activity is going on what, and kind of divide up the mining power as needed. Um, that would, and I think that's kind of going to become required for pools to stay competitive. Because if they're, putting up all of their mining power statically across the network, obviously it's not going to be as profitable as a pool that is able to delegate and change where that mining power is as it's needed to better solve blocks and get more rewards. But I do think it would be pool sided, just because that pools are typically how the miner redirects their mining power to the blockchain to solve those blocks.
100%.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, that
I
helps a little bit.
agree.
Yeah,
I
let's hear
think,
Grace's
yeah,
thing.
I think at Bitmain we have Ant pool, which people can basically cloud mining, and I do think they also have container at Ant pool, and besides Ant pool, there are also many container pool existing there in the market right now. We also have some new project coming up, from container community. Basically, they have like a green energy pool, or to no fee, like very low fee to, and then they offer lots, basically the database for people to mine. So there are many ways for container community to find the solution to mine.
Yeah, and we actually have been, we met a representative of Antpool that's working with Antpool at the World Digital Mining Summit. And he's, pretty smart. I'll go ahead and see if I can get an answer from him of how Antpool manages that. I know that Antpool is one of the leading pools in Kadena mining. They have the most hash rate, or they're definitely in the top, percentage of that. So, pretty cool. I'll see what information we can get from him.
Awesome. It's great to hear that pools are starting to pop up now. there's obviously, there's the Antminer, there's a few other pools, but when it comes to mining Kadena, could someone, specifically a solo miner from home, mine directly without pool mining? Is it possible to mine Kadena without going through a pool, assuming you have, the programs or whatever that you would need to do that? Is that a possibility for people? Because I know there's people that live in situations where they don't pay electricity, or their electricity cost is covered through their rent or whatever, that would be willing to throw down money on a miner, but don't want to have to give up, their 1 or 2 or whatever percentage to a pool. So I see that Riley has his hand up. So
Yeah, I don't personally have experience mining outside of a pool, but I do know that I think it was the Kadena team, the core team themselves. They did release code so you could basically deploy your own self mining pool to basically, be able to uh, do that without mining into a pool that takes a percentage and a fee. Um, but other than that, I do know it's possible. But other than that, um, I haven't quite done it yet. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, Riley, and that's something that me and you can definitely do for our community. Is we can even go in on one together, and get our own node set up, so we wouldn't have to pay any fees, and then obviously be able to pass that off to our community that is mining with us. So I think that's something that me and you can maybe talk about after this AMA and everything. I think that would be really cool. We've thought about it before, but yeah, right now it's we're going a million miles per hour with the blocksmith and all this stuff that's not the priority right now, but I definitely think that that's something that we'll end up doing. So if you're up for that, let me know.
Yeah, most certainly. We're currently we have been talking with Antpool to get do a little bit of a partnership there. We're not sure if anything will come out of that, but we're also looking at acquiring servers to host a pool that would be, strong enough to allow not only our project, but other projects and other, individuals to mine on it as well. And I think it'd be a great value add. So, we're more than open to it.
looks like we had our good friend, Action CEO, has something that he wants to say. So go ahead, buddy. Go ahead and what you have to say.
I just want to make sure I make myself available for all this mining talk you guys are doing over here. Talking about making the what is it called, the blockchain lottery, because that's what happens when you're trying to mine it by yourself. It's a great experience when you're able to solve a block on your own. But it is the lottery. You can't guarantee they're actually going to make something out of it, which is amazing when it happens, and it's super cool. But yeah, I mean, the conversation between Core there and Full Spent went from let's mine solo to hey, let's mine together, and that's usually how it happens, right? It's all about community in this thing, and the power of multiple people will always be better than people trying to do it alone, which is the coolest part of all of this. It's really nice that the Canadian team did put out, self node, ability for you to run things on your own. But yeah, you gotta always think.
I don't know if I hit mute everyone or something there. It just kind of sounds like everyone kind of stopped talking for a second. I see that Riley has his hand up. Go right ahead, bud.
I just wanted to add on to that, and Action is 100% correct with 99.9% of the blockchains out there. Solo mining is completely a lottery. The block rewards are huge, and it usually takes a very long time. Sometimes you get super lucky and you get them really, really quick, and it feels like you just won the lottery, especially with Bitmain or Bitcoin, not Bitmain, sorry. However, Kadena actually has very small block reward, and they did this intentionally to better allow people to solo mine. I have actually mined through a pool, but solo, and the income day to day is almost identical, and it's super cool. The block rewards are typically around 1 KDA, and back when I was mining with my KD5s, I would typically get around 1 block reward per miner per hour, which was super, super cool. And I think that's something that Kadena's done really, really well to further decentralize, the, the mining and make it so that you don't have to always be, a part of a bigger pool. Although, there's always benefits of it, and it's having a pool. Usually, if you're solo mining or group mining, you're still paying a fee through the pool. So it's it's really cool, and it's also really amazing that they put out the the code so you can compile it and run your own little node and do solo mining. And it's cool that the block reward supports that and enables you to actually successfully solo mine, where it's a little bit less exciting because you don't have the chance of getting a huge block reward, but it also reduces the risk of mining forever and never getting a block reward, and then being like, oh, I didn't hit the hit that lottery, like is common with Bitcoin.
At least with if someone did want to solo mine, at least they have the option to buy directly through Bitmain now at buying one of the highest hash rate miners on the market. So that is always a great option for people. Like I said, it comes down to your resolve, what you want to do with your miner. There's a lot of people that got into crypto early, have maybe possibly already made their stuff, and now we're just kind of are mining enthusiasts and just kind of want to either do like some miners don't do it for the profit. Some miners just do it because they love the chain and they want to support the security of the chain, because people need to remember that the security of a blockchain is only as secure as the people who are mining it, and the more people who are mining the blockchain, the more secure it's going to be. That's a prime example, of course, of Bitcoin, how it's like one of the number one mined coins out there because of the fact that it's just such a huge network and it's the most secure because of it. Now, one thing though about Kadena that we have seen in the history of the past year or so has been a massive difficulty increase when it came to mining itself. Now, what would you guys contribute that to? Would you say that is more contributed to the correlation of the big price increase that we had in the past year that went back down, or is there other factors in mind? Let's first start with possibly with Grace, because you guys were just kind of starting into the Kadena ecosphere back then. Was that something that you saw happen and took into effect when you were creating your future miners for Kadena, and why you've made them such giant hash rate machines that are just complete beasts on the market? Was that something that came into effect of that just giant hash difficulty increase that Kadena had in the past year?
Right. We did realize last year the a monthly increase in Kadena network difficulty of mining, which is huge, and the price went down significantly this year, also because of the currently crypto bear market. But um, the the Bitmain have basically the best technology to produce miners, and the hash rate is quite high. Like it's almost 166 terahash, and for power consumption more than 3,155 for watt, and which is but I think Bitmain, they always have their plan, and we put that on our our plan, like how to support Kadena community. We just really want a Kadena community to grow, and so because to us, Kadena is still so currently relatively small, so profitability for us is not the main concern at this stage. So we just really want to the POW ecosystem grow. So right. So but we still believe the price of Kadena, even the networking difficulties increase, but the price in the future, when the bull market come back, it will be significant.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear, though, that at least you guys are providing people with the tools to be able to mine these coins and get their hands on them. Now, what about core, full spend, even action? If you guys have something to say, what did you think? Because I believe you guys have been mining Kadena pretty much when that difficulty increase went up. What were your takes on it?
Yeah, I think you just get a lot of people that are believing in the chain ultimately. You know, obviously, as the miner, it does kind of suck as reward goes down. But, you know, I think it's definitely a positive thing that you have a bunch of people jumping on and, you know, getting their miners and trying to mine, trying to host and do all this. So I just think it's truly just obviously as the bear market's going, you know, the price going down, as we're getting hash rate up, I think that's a very strong sign for the fundamentals of a coin. So yeah, I think people are just figuring out. I think you got some big players too that are, you know, buying these miners in bulk and doing that as well. So I think it's an organic thing. And as Grace said previously, as price of Kadena does increase, everything will all come back to normal. So I actually think it's a very positive thing for Kadena.
Yeah, I agree. It's an amazing thing. Um, I overall, the more hash power we have, the more secure the network is going to be. Um, and when you're getting super amazing electric rates, we're currently working on a deal to get electric for 3.9 cents. It doesn't quite affect as much because even like the early generations of the KD5s are, I believe they're still profitable at that electricity rate. So you know, projects like me and Core, where we're able to provide these super awesome, you know, electric rates, it enables those older generations to still continue. But then by having Bitmain come in and be such an amazing competitor in the market, not only does it reduce the cost of the new machines and make it a little bit more fair for everybody trying to get in, but then you can get access to those and secure the network more and get more out of them. And I think that it's a super necessary thing, and it's overall going to be extremely positive. Already has been, and um, even with those older miners, they were so profitable that the majority of people that mined with them have ROI'd plus some, and um, you know, it's just a overall super needed thing to have multiple companies producing the miners so that you don't get price gouging and all of these other things that happen when there's, you know, one central manufacturer of the miner. And so it's super amazing to see, and yeah, overall super beneficial to the entire ecosystem and the blockchain.
Yeah, competition in any market is key because without competition, all you have is monopolies. And at that point, you're at the mercy of that monopoly of what they want to do. For example, living up here where I am in Canada, if you want electricity to your house, unless you want to do solar or something, you have one choice. If you want gas to your house, you have one choice. You know, like it provides no actual building in the there's no competition, so nothing wants to build. Like they're not trying to build out on anything. They're just continually making their money and charging whatever they want to charge. Now, when it comes to crypto, in that sense, we've been seeing, I don't know, in the past year or so, I could not count how many new layer ones I've seen and things like that, but I've have been seeing less and less proof of work chains being produced. It seems like everyone's kind of making this shift away to a proof of work or a proof of whatever, and just or a proof of stake or a proof of whatever kind of concept, and either going just L2 with a token or whatever. There's being less and less people wanting to build true proof of work blockchains. So moving forward into the future, what do you guys see as being the winner overall? Do you guys fully believe, like a lot of people do that have been in this space forever, that proof of work is for sure the way of the future? Or do you believe that there is room for multiple proof of whatever systems to work together in this ecosphere? Let's start with Action because he hasn't spoken in a second here.
So I'll give you two things. The last question you were asking, how do I feel about the whole difficulty increasing? I'll tack that on to what Full Spent was talking about. With the low electricity rates, yeah, the KD5 is still profitable at almost $3 a day currently. So if anybody wants to buy a KD5, I want to get rid of mine because I need to get myself some Bitmain units. But when it comes to what you were talking about now, as far as um, does it make sense to go proof of work, proof of stake? And I will forever be a proof of work fanboy. Like I'm just gonna come out there and say it. That doesn't mean that I don't think that proof of stake has its place because it does. A lot of people try to be maxis about everything, and that's just a really it makes you toxic, right? And that's the thing with the Kadena community as a whole. I don't see that from the Kadena community. Like we know what we like. We know what this blockchain is all about. And at the end of the day, when other blockchains like Doge starts talking about going to proof of stake, we're not going, oh, they're making a dumb decision. We're just celebrating, going, you guys do you. Litecoin miners are not going to be profitable anymore, and miners are always going to mine. And guess what? They're going to look for what else to mine, which just brings more people to to proof of work blockchains like Kadena. So to me, it's a win-win when other people say we're going to go somewhere else. I don't want to be a maxi and say Kadena is the only blockchain that will survive this because that's just not true. But at the end of the day, let people go to proof of stake. There's definitely room and places for that. But man, I am sticking, proof of work through and through and mining all the way.
Yeah, I agree. And also Bitmain is a strong, like pure proof of work believer. And we think POW like support the entire network and most of the hash power for a long time. So it's been tested for many years. So like proof of stake system still relatively in his experimental phase, right? So it does need time to prove its security and efficiency. That's why we believe proof of work.
Yeah, I was going to say I believe Bitmain's answer will be proof of work because that's your bread and butter, and why
That's
you're not
true.
making there's no proof of stake
Yeah,
miners out there, so so that
definitely.
kind of definitely makes sense that you guys would be leaning more towards proof of work for sure. Now, when it comes to getting into mining and Kadena specifically, and also just moving forward into the future of Kadena mining, let's talk about hurdles. What do you guys believe is the thing that, because I know a lot, like you said, people are going to be looking for new things to mine when other things become less profitable. Like, for example, with the recent Ethereum switchover, there was all these proof of work miners out there that are like, now I got to find something else to do. Great. And I'm sure some of them probably found their way over to Kadena and other blockchains. Now, what do you feel like for those people that are trying to get into Kadena mining are the biggest hurdles that people have to get over?
Well,
Anyone can take it.
yeah, I think when it comes to crypto mining, for a lot of people, especially beginner, like they need to understand this business and a few challenges because the mining like basically is it's getting more competitive these years and like a few challenges like the access to hardware like you need to pick uh, faster hardware more better miner out there. Also, you need like large capital especially like if you want to mine Bitcoin, right? So you need like access to capital for this business, and also energy. You need like mining require a lot of energy to keep a miner running efficiently, and the cost of it. So and also you need to find the right people, the right team, because a lot of people come to in this industry relatively still very new. There are not people like really expert in this business, so you need to find the right team And also this market is very volatile. The price volatility, like can your business really can survive in the bear market? Yeah, there are many challenges when it comes to mining business for sure.
Yes, those are excellent points, especially the whole being able to survive in a bear market. I don't know how many companies we've seen over the years where we see the big run up in Bitcoin and other cryptos, and all these companies come out and with all this money, and then next thing you know, we're 8 to 12 months later, and they're folding because they've spent all the money that they had, and the prices aren't going back up, and they weren't thinking sustainability. Unlike obviously companies like Bitmain who have pushed themselves through the bear market. Like that's one thing I never really saw was like you always saw these tweets about like, you know, oh, this crypto company is laying off half their staff like Coinbase, or crypto.com lays off all these people. And it's like, well, you've been through the markets before, you know how things fluctuate. You should have planned for that. You should have known that that was coming. So obviously that is one big hurdle, is that companies and businesses and people need to always assume that it's not always going to be, you know, gold and roses. There's going to be days where it's dirt and dandelions, you know, and that's all you're going to get for an option. What do you guys feel as actual miners of Kadena is the biggest hurdles for people to get into? Because I know that being what both Core and Full Spend are doing through the NFT use and paying out through mining that way, that is one way of breaking those hurdles. But for someone that wants to actually do the mining themselves, what do you guys feel is probably holding people back the most?
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of the things Grace said is 100% accurate. The barrier to entry of the finance, needing to be able to sustain through a bear market are all really important. But a lot of that also comes with the need to be able to deal with the miners themselves. In America, our houses are typically wired to 120 volts, and you will not have a good time trying to mine on 120 volt. You'll need to upgrade and get circuits installed for 240 volts. Then you're going to have to start dealing with the heat dissipation. You're going to most likely need a secondary building where you can put those miners and not have to deal with the intense noise they produce, especially if you're trying to do any sort of scale. And you know, it's just a difficult thing to get into. Another thing I think is understanding the cycles and being able to see when a good time to sell your hardware and prep to get newer and faster hardware. That's all going to be challenges to somebody who's really new to it, and especially where you don't have a lot of extra capital or the tolerance for a bear market. It's all going to be a challenge, and you know, by investing in, through Core or Full Spend, you're able to get access to those miners. You know, we're supporting Bitmain by buying as many of those as we physically can, and it's a great way to kind of allow that exposure to that, and also know that you have a team of very smart people that have been through a bunch of cycles, have seen the best time to sell miners, and are prepped, know how to get into buying new ones, and how to safely host them, how to safely manage dissipating the heat, have the infrastructure for it, etc. And you know, it's just a great way to be able to support the proof of work industry and also make some profits for yourself without taking on as much risk and as much headache.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. That's mining just like out of a home or out of an apartment or something is definitely not something that's really feasible anymore. You may, like you said, you may win the lottery once in a while and score that random block, but you're going to be putting up with a lot of noise and a lot of heat just to do it. So it all comes down to what they feel is what the person feels they're comfortable at doing. What about you, Chase, at Core? What do you guys feel like? What was your biggest hurdles to get into mining yourselves, or what do you feel are hurdles that people will have to overcome? Let's say just outside of price and stuff like that. Is there anything else you can really think of?
Yeah, well, I mean, Riley pretty much covered up everything about basically just setting up, And I think oftentimes too, there's a misconception that it's this, difficult thing to be able to get your miner to send profit to a wallet, right? But really, for those that are listening that don't know, it's fairly easy. You just copy paste a couple addresses here and there, and you're all good. And I know another thing too. This is under the circumstance that the suppliers like Bitmain, IB Link are sold out, which mostly is the case. So I think a big thing that wasn't mentioned is the fact that it is an expensive thing, and you're sending anywhere from $1,000 to $15,000 to these resuppliers, right, in the form of crypto. So there often can be almost a scare and a fear that you can get scammed. So oftentimes that's a reason. Like people are like, yeah, I want to mine, but is it worth losing the $8,000 that I want to pay for this miner and everything? So I know there's a lot of trusted suppliers out there that you can find, but I do know that taking that leap of faith can be a barrier oftentimes for some people. So yeah, besides setting up, configuring the miners, and actually, purchasing from a supplier, I think those are the main barriers. But once you get your first thing set up and you learn it, it's fairly easy and fairly easy to scale and everything. So, but like this, there's a reason why Full Spin and Core do exist. Is we've created a way that you can mine and don't even have to worry about all those tough things. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say on that.
Additionally,
Awesome.
one last thing that I think we both forgot to mention is access to energy. That's another huge thing where most people, I've heard people that are spending 30 cents per kilowatt. I've heard in some European countries 40, 50 cents, where
I'm gonna
it's just,
interrupt you and tell you that my peak rate is 69.
yeah, yeah. So that's a new record that I've heard. And um, I know that Full Spend and Core are both doing cool stuff where we're accessing energy in a very unique and environmentally friendly way, and then also getting really extremely competitive energy rates while doing that. So it's pretty cool, and that's another huge barrier to entry that I just thought of.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so hopefully more people will start getting into Kadena. It's kind of sad though, because I feel like most people that aren't already in Kadena for mining, it'll be another FOMO case where Kadena will start taking off, will go up a couple bucks in price or something, and then people will start jumping on board. And it's like, I always kind of shake my head at the backwardness of the way people judge crypto and the way people get into it. I didn't FOMO in; I was kind of just thrown into it by chance. But a lot of people do FOMO in, and then when things go bad, they're getting all mad at everyone else besides themselves for taking that initial step at the wrong time. So hopefully, more people that listen to AMAs like this. Take that leap and give it a chance. Maybe there's people listening that have been wanting to mine and just haven't really, been kind of humming and hawing and not really sure, should I really get into it? Maybe this kind of AMAs will push you into that. I see Action, you have your hand up. Go ahead if you want to speak.
Yeah, I mean you're dead on about that. And going back, so we can move forward with this question that I have. It's hard getting started mining on your own, and I do it myself. But like I was saying, I can only do it for as much as electricity I can actually produce on my own. And I guess this is something that I'm really curious about from Bitmain. And right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense to create a less powerful miner. But is that something that Bitmain might do in the future? Considering that some people can't do 240 at their homes and want to kind of get started, because other companies have introduced this type of scenario, lower price miners that aren't even profitable now, but really open the gateway for people to introduce friends and family, like great Christmas gifts if I'm able to spend just a couple of $100 and get somebody up and running with a small miner. Is that in the roadmap? Is that an idea that might move forward, Grace?
Uh, yes, actually we do. That's why we test the market. We didn't launch like a huge amount of K3. We do want to test the market and get people's feedback, especially like container community feedback, and we want to make the community, feel it's decentralized. And we do heard a lot. Basically, the feedback for K3 is like lots of people they expecting something smaller, right? Like they can be more convenient. They can mine at home. That's something we will think about it, but we haven't make any decision yet at the current stage.
Awesome. It's good to hear, though, at least you're considering that and taking the feedback of the community. It's a good way to just, kind of get your foot in, listen to what the community needs to wants and needs, and kind of move forward that way. I feel that's a great way to definitely work in this ecosystem. I know that before we wrap things up here, I know that Core, you had a giveaway or something you wanted to do before we wrap things up. But I want to say first, this has been absolutely amazing talking to you guys today. I've learned a lot about mining myself. I'm super, super grateful for Grace for taking her time to come and speak with us today. I know that Bitmain is a huge company and you guys are very busy people, so it was very awesome to be able to get this space today and for everyone to come together and have this amazing conversation. So I'd like to thank you, Grace, and thank everyone actually for joining us. It's been really great.
Sure, it's our pleasure.
So, Chase, if you had something you needed to say for your giveaway, please go right ahead. Besides that, like I said, thank you guys for joining us today, both you and Riley, and for Action for stepping up and contributing his sense. You're always more than welcome to join in on our AMAs. So go right ahead, Chase, if you want to do your thing.
Yeah, man. It's not an AMA without a giveaway, so we always try to have one planned to, get people in the AMAs to, have to listen to all the great things that everybody has to say. So we're just going to be giving away a free Blocks mint, and for those that don't know, we actually have the Blocks profile in here, and what a Blocks NFT is it's basically a cool PFP NFT that's linked to a random hash rate, correct? So basically, all what we're going to do is we're going to drop on the Blocks page. We're going to drop a art reveal and then basically just follow along the criteria to be able to be entered. But in order for us to know that, you are in the AMA and you are in our Discord, all you have to do is go in our Discord right now and basically just go under the free mint channel and just basically type your type core Bitmain. This is gonna be a long one. I was gonna do core Bitmain action Kadena Eco full spin. No, don't do that. Just type AMA in the channel and then basically your Twitter name. That way we can verify that you were in this AMA. And then yeah, we'll be doing the drawing tomorrow. So that's for a free mint. So we'll give you guys a second to kind of go into our Discord and find that free mint channel.
So make sure you guys, if you haven't already joined their Discord, click on Core's profile here. I'm sure that they have links there on their profile for their Discord. And make sure you guys join that up so there's a chance to get yourself a free mint. And who doesn't love free things? So, and
Hey,
then
this
make
is a
sure
mining
you,
AMA, so we might as well give away some hash rate, right?
yeah. And then make sure also to follow up with that tweet that I'm sure you guys will be sending out very soon. But again, I want to thank all of you guys for joining today, especially, like I said, especially Grace from Bitmain. It was very awesome to be able to speak with someone from one of the largest manufacturers of mining equipment in the world. That's very, very gracious of you to be able to bless us with talking to them. Not too many people get to speak with huge corporations of on this kind of familiarity, and it was very awesome of you to be able to join us. So thank you very much. Action, if you have something you want to say before we close things up, go right ahead.
Yeah, 100%. And this is I think one of the most important thing I'll say in this AMA. Chris really works hard to make sure his stuff is awesome with these AMAs. So I just want to thank you for being an awesome host as always, man. Being prepared, having great questions, and not holding back, asking the things that people really want to hear. So if anybody's not following Kadena Ecosystem, this is the time to do so, because if you like this, this space, you're gonna love the other ones that he hosts as well. So thank you so much for putting this together, man.
Of course, I love doing them. It's the best part of my day for sure. So, like I said, again, thank you, Grace, for joining us. I just want to say, if you guys ever want to do any more promotion for Bitmain or anything, if you have any kind of news you want to share, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are more than welcome to host more spaces, spread more news, whatever you would like. We would be more than willing to help.
Thank you, Grace. Yeah, we will work more with you guys in the future for sure.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank absolutely everybody for joining and for listening tonight. This is an absolutely amazing AMA. Like I said, we record all of these. They'll be up on Twitter. We also post them on our YouTube and SoundCloud channels. So make sure you guys give us a follow on those. Our links are on our profile. But make sure you also follow Core Blockchain, Action CEO, Full Spend. Give Grace a follow. Go follow Bitmain Tech. That's their Twitter handle. And go check yourselves out some of their mining equipment, and maybe get yourselves into the mining game for Kadena. So thank you very much, absolutely everyone, for joining us, and take care.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting and having us all on. We, more than appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, and thank you for everybody that's tuning in. You guys are taking the time out of your day to learn about these projects and hear us speak. So obviously, this would not be a thing without you guys. You guys are all Kadena OGs, and we see that and appreciate that. And see you at the moon.
See you guys next time.
That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter, to ensure to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.